Hi everyone! Welcome to this mental well-being webinar for educators as we give them practical tips to navigate through the current times. I'm Camille and I will be with you for today's webinar. I'm QSR's trainer for G Suite for Education and I'm a Google Certified Educator Level 1. If you've been following my webinars, and I'm sure you're familiar with me already. This live streaming is brought to you by Q Software Research, a Google for Education partner since 2017 and a Google Cloud partner specializing on education since 2018. This is also in collaboration with Creative Corner and Evolve Link. I will be linking in our previous webinar series playlist that we did last April 2 to 7 at the description box below if you want to check that out. And of course, if in case you have any questions for our speakers for tonight, you or any concerns, please do comment them at the chat box and we'll try to answer them after the discussion time. Okay, so before we go with the webinar itself, of course, before we dive into it, we want to inform our viewers that our speakers are not medical doctors and that they are not medical experts on mental health. Instead, they have studied mental well-being in the perspective of a teacher. So our discussion for tonight would revolve around an educator's perspective on preventive measures instead of the treatment process. Okay, so let me introduce to you our speakers for tonight. We have today the Magat Velicina sisters acknowledging all the educators in their family. We have partnered with, again, Evolve Link Consultancy Services and Creative Corner Learning Center for this very timely webinar on mental health for educators. So may I introduce them to you, Teacher Leah and Teacher Linda. Miss Ana Linda Buenaventura is an educator by profession who is also a well-being and mental health advocate for young children. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in elementary education, major in early childhood education, and a master's degree in education, major in preschool teaching at Assumption College, Makati in 20. Currently, she is studying to become a certified mindfulness teacher in Alberta, Canada. Her work experience includes teaching at Assumption College, San Lorenzo, and a head teacher at Singapore School, Manila, and Creative Corner and Learning Center, which is the school that she co-established in 2012. Her expertise includes school management and curriculum program development. As a teacher and mentor, her advocacies focus on progressive education and teacher training. She believes in the holistic approach to teaching and that much emphasis should be given to teachers' professional development to bring about relevant change in the educational landscape of our country. That's our first speaker. And we have another one, Teacher Leah. Miss Ana Leah Nones is the head teacher at Creative Corner and Learning Center Incorporated. Creative Corner is a progressive and inclusive school in Tanawan City, Batangas. She finished her Bachelor of Communications, major in Media Production in Assumption College, and took her 18 units of secondary education in Ateneo de Naga University. She is a LET passer and has recently completed a course on cognitive fitness by Harvard Health Publishing, Harvard Medical School. Analea's decades of experience in different educational institutions has led her to advocate progressive and positive education, to dedicate herself in supporting every child to flourish. She strongly believes that schools should not only focus on teachers and students' performance and discipline should equally value and focus on emotional well-being of every child to be able to build resilience, healthy lifestyle, and critical skills for life. A happy teacher makes a happy class, and as Aristotle said, happiness is the end goal of education. So let me call on our speakers. Hi, Teacher Leah and Teacher Linda.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Also with us is Miss Lourdes
Yes, I'm here. Good morning to teacher Linda, who's in Canada.
in Canada. Okay, so Um, if maybe I think I've made all the proper introduction plus some of the information given to our viewers that again we just want to remind you that we are not medical experts here, but instead this is our advocacies, and we would want to share with you, our fellow educators, that we are in the same perspective. Right. So
Yes.
I guess I'm going to leave the floor to Teacher Linda.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
you,
you.
teacher.
Okay. Again, good evening to all of you. Yes, I have to keep reminding myself that it's good evening because I just woke up. Well, anyway, thank you, Miss Camille, for that introduction. Thank you, QSR Corporation, for this opportunity. By the way, QSR is helping Creative Corner set up online learning for this coming school year. So again, thank you, QSR Corporation. So let's begin. Tonight, we are representing two organizations. One is Evolve Link, which is my sister's company advocating for mental health. And we represent the mental health for educators, our day job, our school creative corner, and learning center. Just to give you a short background of our school, back in 2012, we started a progressive school in Tanawan City. So CCLC is a Catholic, progressive, and inclusive school located in Barangay 4, Tanawan City, Batangas. So from a family of educators, this school has been put up because we believe that our community will benefit from this type of education. So the goal of CCLC education is to educate the whole child as we also advocate for transformative education. So there you go. And then CCLC will be going online for next school year with the help of QSR Corporation. So by doing that, we will be able to cater more students if we will be going online. Okay, next slide, please, Miss Camille. There. So as I mentioned, the goal of CCLC education is educating the whole child, and we advocate for transformative education. Okay. Next slide. So let's begin with our topic for tonight. With this pandemic, right, we have a lot of questions in mind. Maybe most of us have asked ourselves, why is this happening? When is this going to end? What's going to happen to all of us, our family, to our jobs? And we don't really know the answers to these questions. There's no concrete answers yet. But at the end of the day, I realized that there are questions that I can answer to navigate through this crisis, right? Instead of asking the whys of the pandemics, we can ask ourselves, what do I prioritize and how do I emerge from this situation? Next slide, please. There. And because of COVID 19, we are all feeling stressed, right? We are experiencing stress, and it really affects our well being, especially our mental health. And so it is good to understand what mental health is, because it is during this time that we should all be taking good care of our mental health. Next slide, please. So, there. Um, Looking at the continuum, it says there that some days we are thriving, sometimes we are very excited in doing things, but there are days that we find it difficult to get up from the bed. Okay, and I read from a Facebook from the Institute of Child Psychology that there is what we call a pandemic wheel of ambiguity, wherein we feel different. We have different mental states. Sometimes there's general confusion. We don't know what day it is. Like, I think this has happened to most of us, right? Sometimes we just feel so happy and relaxed, but there are days when we feel so agitated, we feel so stressed out. So just like physical health, we get colds, fever, and we need rest. That is the same thing with mental health. So again, we all have mental health. And it is important to remind ourselves what mental health is, and it is defined by the World Health Organization as a state in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make contribution to his or her community. So let's keep reminding ourselves mental health is important, especially now with what's happening around us. Before, people did not really talk about mental health because, in general, there is a stigma. But nowadays, I think people all over the world are starting to become aware of the importance of mental health because, really, it is an important aspect of our well being, right? Stresses are normal and we face it every day. As teachers, we know how stressful our job is, right? Every day there's always something that we need to do, something that we need to finish. So I might say we are already immune to stresses in life because of our work, right? But then during this time, the stress that we are experiencing is different because of the uncertainty of the situation. So, with that, the question is can we still function even if we are stressed? Right? So, in this session, we hope that all of you will learn tools that will help you strengthen your mental health as we navigate through this crisis. Okay, let's go to the next slide. With mental health, it is important first to pour our cup, self care before we can help others. Hopefully, with our own experiences as educators and as human as everyone else, we can share our learnings and as we navigate through this pandemic. So we will go through the next slide. Thank you. So we have the power to thrive in this adversity, or we have the power to rise in this adversity, right? If we are to realize this power is just within us, right? And we will be sharing you practical tips that encompasses your mind, your body, and heart. And we will go through each one by one. Next slide. So should we go, next slide, please? So there. So number one, we will be talking about our mind, right? We will choose to respond and not react. With the situation that we are experiencing now, all the stresses, anxiety, feelings that we might not have felt before, difficult feelings, right? And then the feelings associated with isolation, such as loneliness and sadness. Research has shown that what we are experiencing right now is a collective grief. Therefore, we are also experiencing stress. But if we are always stressed, we can be more prone to sickness. Again, if we are always stressed, it is more likely that we can get sick. So, what I suggest are as follows. First, we have to be aware of what's going on inside us. Okay? And then, second, we should have a master of our emotions. And then, last, we should own our feelings. So, personally, how can I function as a mother or as a wife or as a teacher if I am always stressed? Then everyone in my family for sure will suffer, right? So in this context, I am using my stress to become productive. Just like what this famous psychologist said, stress should not be actually debilitating. Sometimes stress can even challenge us to be more productive, to accomplish more, right? So if it's just a matter of reframing stress, okay, we can be even more productive. So I am using my stress to be more productive because I am able to self-regulate. Let's go to the next slide. So we'll tell you some of the things that have worked for us so that we can respond instead of react. So we have some mindful practices that we will be sharing with you. So first, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness means being fully present at the moment. It means you are just focused on what you are doing at the very moment, right? And one practical tip that I'd like to share with you is what I do. It is a tool that I always use whenever I need it. Okay, so it's a breathing exercise, and I'd like to demonstrate it. It's just very simple. So you can just have inhale and exhale counting to 5. So when you inhale, make sure that you inhale through your nose and you count to 5. Inhale, exhale through your mouth, counting to 5 again. And as you exhale, you release intentionally all the tension, all the stresses and negative feelings that you have inside. And you can do that as long as you want. You can do that 3 times. It really depends on your need. And what's good about this is that it is within you. You can do it anytime. And it's a tool, a practical tool that you can use whenever you need it. It is like a superpower, right? Because really there are so many benefits of doing this exercise. One is like you will feel more calm and more capable, and also it can send messages to your brain that everything will be okay and that you can get through hard things. So those are just some of the benefits of doing breathing exercises. We can also have some quiet moment. We can pray, we can meditate. And what's good about establishing the habit of meditating is that it actually dissolves the excessiveness of self. Mean to say that whenever we meditate, we tend to, we are inclined to be more caring to other people, to reach out to other people. So we are doing it, it's an individual activity, but then what it helps us is that we become more caring to other people. So that's what's good about meditation. And what we teach in school, everything should start with a prayer, and it still remain until now, even if everything has changed or schedule has changed. Prayer is part of everyday life, and I hope everyone can really start our day or your day with prayer, because it's also our way of valuing our culture of faith. What else? Meditation. During this time, since I have a lot of time, since there's no work, right? I do reading the Bible with my son. We do that, or sometimes I pray the rosary in the morning. I have that app in my cell phone, so it's easy to pray the rosary because I am guided. And also, what else? Um, Attending online mass, since we cannot go to mass, right? And there are a lot of online masses going on. So I hope that you can avail of that for those who are practicing Catholic, but for those who are not non-Catholic, I know you have your own way of praying, and it's really up to you on how you can bring yourself into that state of calmness and mindfulness. Okay, now pause means focusing on things that you can engage yourself, or well, not only yourself but also your family, your children, and we all have the opportunity to pause from all the busyness of life. Before, when we are all working, I know for sure we didn't really have much time to pursue our passion because of just so much workload that we have, like preparing weekly lesson plans, checking your students' homework, test paper, everything. It's like there's always something going on. There's always something that you need to do. There's always a deadline that you need to meet, right? But now we don't have much work to do. And this is the best opportunity for us to rediscover ourselves, our passion. I'm just happy to see some of my friends in Facebook doing other things like, baking, cake, baking pandesal, some are even painting, or, this sort of things. It's like discovering your hidden passion, your talent. There's so much more that we can do aside from being great at teaching. And I hope that you will be able to do that as well, to rediscover your talent, your passion. Um, and then what else? Play is very important, especially if you have young children like me, or even if you have teens, or actually play is important for all ages in the family. And this is the best opportunity to make use of our time spent at home to play with kids, to play with our family, because this is something that they will remember, even if they're grown ups already. And always remember, time spent playing with children is time that will never be wasted. Okay? Time spent playing with children is time never wasted. Okay? Last, I'll be going to routine. Everything has changed. We don't go to work every day, or maybe some of you are working from home or doing online work. Still important is for you to have a sense of routine, because routine gives us a sense of security. Okay. Um, for me, for example, my routine is when I wake up in the morning, of course, take a bath. Still, it's the same routine. You take a bath and then you start preparing breakfast. What else? When the children are awake, I what do? We eat breakfast and then we clean the house. I ask them to help me clean the house, clean up their toys. Then after that, we go outside for a short walk, because we are allowed to go outside for a walk. Or I watch them go biking because they like biking. It's summer. It just started last, I think, this week, because for the past few months, there's always snow. So now the kids are happy because they are able to play outside already. So that's part of our routine. Also, what you can do is that you can have a routine like gardening, involve your kids to do that. Or if you can give them simple tasks at home that they can do every day. It doesn't have to be, clean everything. Just like what you see in the picture, that's my nephew. He's helping out in cleaning the house. So he's sweeping, I think, the stairs. So those are just some of the practical tips that I'd like to share with you, um, because by doing these things, this will help you learn to respond instead of react. Okay, so that is tip number one: choose to respond and not react. So that is on our next slide there. So again, choose to respond and not react. So now I will be, it's going to be Teacher Leah who will be explaining to you the slides, the coming slides. So there you go.
Thank you, Teacher B. Hi, everyone. I'm Teacher Leah, and for everyone's information, I'm 2 minutes younger than baby because we're twins. So, my topic is about the second important aspect of mental health. Okay, so let's just wait for the slide. So, it's the body. My topic is about the body. So, when I take care of myself, I am able to take care of others. So, being a preschool teacher, just like Teacher Baby, um, uh, I've been there for like 10 years already, actually. So my life actually was more of because of heavy load, you go to one class from one class to the other. Tendency for me actually is to skip my regular meal. And this happened during the before the time of the pandemic. So I'd skip my regular meal. And the only decent meal that I can ever have during the day is actually dinner. So that was my life before pandemic, years. I was like that. So now that we are under ECQ, I think this is the best time, opportunity for us to actually look after ourselves. Because science says that looking after yourself will actually benefit others. So this is why it is important that we prioritize self-care. So what is self-care? As you see on your screen, it should be any activity that we choose for ourselves that actually can help us develop positive mood and can actually lessen our stress or anxiety. Okay, so it is important that we choose the quality of activity that we do because make sure that it will benefit, it will contribute to our healthy lifestyle. It doesn't mean that when we are, because we have to have a lot of time, we should, sleep all day, eat anything we want. That's not about self-care. So choose an activity that will actually help improve our mood and lessen our anxiety. So practically, whenever I'm feeling, for example, during the day when I am grumpy or cranky, my kids would actually sense and would actually absorb that energy. But when I'm happy, they will benefit from it because our well-being can actually help improve the health of those around us. So it's very important, you know, to be mindful of the feeling that we pass on to others and the feeling that we have within ourselves. Okay, next slide, please. So there is no mental health without true physical health. And these two components are actually intimately linked, all right? There are three aspects of physical health. So first is food. Everybody knows that we have to eat healthy food, right? We always teach that in school. But what is recommended of taking healthy food is more of religiously taking plant-based diet. You eat green leafy vegetables as much as possible. When you say a plant-based diet, the content of your plate actually should be half fruit and half raw vegetables. Okay, that was recommended. And we should also veer away from food that actually can cause or trigger our anxiety. And what are those? The food that's readily available, we can eat them anytime. For example, um, junk food, chocolate, chips, like that, soda. These are actually food that can actually increase our level of anxiety. For example, if we eat too much sugar, like when we allow our kids to eat too much sugar, their blood sugar level will actually increase, right? And it can also dampen their mood, can eventually spike their anxiety. So it is important that we are very mindful of the food that we put on our table and the food that we give our children. So personally, ever since this ECQ started, I have ample time to really plan the food that we cook each meal. I make sure that um, my children will be able to eat, vegetable, okay, at least twice in a day. It could be in breakfast or dinner or lunch, right? So, and one aspect also of eating the plant-based diet. Well, there's a study in Harvard about if we regularly follow or religiously follow the plant-based diet for at least 4.5 years, there will be a possibility of reduced Alzheimer's risk by 53%. Okay, so that's the benefit of being mindful of the food that we eat because it will have a huge impact to our mental and physical health later on in our life. Okay. So another brain food is actually exercise. Our body needs to move. All right. And when we exercise, that's one way of doing it. When we exercise, our body actually releases endorphins that can help us get through a restorative sleep. Okay. And it also can send positive emotions or positive feeling to our body, which can actually help lessen our anxiety, lessen our stress. Okay. So it is very important that we just know that exercise is important. What is important is we actually do it. So with me, I have a routine that when I wake up in the morning, just like each baby, so she has her own meditation or prayer. And after that, I make sure that I do 10 minutes of personal exercise, light exercise that I can do in my bedroom while my children are still sleeping. So I can do, simple exercise like stretching, bending. You can also do, jumping jack or jumping in place or going up and down the stairs. Those are simple exercise that actually, help me get, through the day. So that's very beneficial. And also exercise actually will help us get through a very, a restorative sleep, which means a restful sleep, right? And that is the third pillar of physical health. So we all need to be rested, and we do that by sleeping. With me, if I don't have enough sleep, tendency for me the next day, I will not be able to function properly. Okay, so it is important that we regulate our schedule of sleep. Like you only go to bed when you are sleepy. You don't go to bed to work. And those are two different aspects that we need to be clear about. Go to bed when you are about to sleep when you feel sleepy, or schedule bedtime and waking up time. And during this pandemic, I know everybody is experiencing this one, that we are all having difficulty falling asleep. But we have this cognitive ability to actually regulate our sleep. Okay, so best that we do digital detox to wind down. So meaning, let's put down our cell phone, any gadgets that we have, turn them off 30 minutes before we go to sleep. and that will be very helpful to for us to be able to have a restful sleep. Next slide, please. Okay, so in self-care, there are many aspects or areas. So there can be physical, emotional, spiritual, professional, social, and psychological. So this is something that it varies. Activity, we need to think of an activity that can actually help us, calm ourselves, help us be more positive about our thoughts by doing activities that are based on your interests. So I've said it varies. For some people, it can be meditation, but not everyone can do that. But in my case, I feel more happy when I challenge myself to do difficult things. For example, baking. Baking is not easy for me, but I'm trying to learn it day by day. And it is something that whenever I'm able to do a recipe, so there is a sense of self-efficacy, and sense of happiness and calm. And at the same time, I do this activity with my children. So um, I let them help me in the baking process so they actually learn. And at the same time, we bond together. So this is one of the activities that appeals to me. So best that you think of an activity that that is your interest. It can be writing for some, it can be painting, journaling. There can be a lot of activities that you can. So it will vary. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So these are some of the the core activities that we do. All right, to address our self-care. So we move around in school. We do that. Let the children dance and exercise. We get to choose the healthy food that we can give our children and to ourselves as well. And as teachers, it is important that we keep on learning. Okay, that we are always on track, and this is the best time to do that. We have ample time to do that. What are we going to do with the time? Should we waste it, or should we invest it or redeem it? Okay. So again, tip number two, take care of yourself so you can take care of others. And now we move on to the last important aspect or area, which is heart. So I can grow my relationships despite the distance. Um, there's a psychological effect related to social distancing that we may be experiencing. Like what teacher maybe said a while ago, some people are experiencing anxiety, um, feeling of isolation, and other difficult emotions. So, as social creature, this is so against our nature. So, and that's why social distancing does not mean social isolation. Okay, because it is about our subjective experience of feeling of belongingness. So, this is our time to actually intentionally connect with the people that we love, the people that we care. All right, so we can do that now, maybe more often than we used to. So we have technology, we can do it faster and we can do it more often than we used to before. Um, Next slide, please. So today, we are connecting with, as I've said, we are connecting with other people, but it is important that we just not just talk to anybody, okay? Because sometimes we talk to a lot of people, and by the end of the day, we feel, tired. We still feel lonely. So it is best that the quality that we intentionally create, meaningful conversations with our loved ones. It could be our spouse, it could be our parents, it could be our siblings, because the quality of the relationship affect our well-being. So it's not about the number of people that we talk; it's about the meaningful conversations that we have each day with the person that we love. And um, it says that having a quality relationship is actually a key to mental health. So my question is, do you still have time to talk to the right people every day to strengthen your relationship? It is also best to ask the person that we talk to that how does it feel like to be you today? So as long as you feel that you are connected to others on the inside, you still get the benefit of being connected. So we can be physically isolated, but we can never be socially isolated. So let's talk about your mental health squad. Basically, who are the part of your mental health squad? Okay, basically these are the people that will help you in your mental health. Okay, those who are able to give you enough support, who can make you feel you are valued and comfortable when you talk to them. Okay, and this is also the best time that you strengthen your relationship. Okay, um, being able to be able to talk to the people that you haven't talked to for a long time. All right, it could be a friend, a far away friend who lives far away. To rekindle the relationship. Okay, to strengthen the relationship. And it is also maybe the best time that we can work on our troubled relationships. Okay, if that is something that will be good for our mental health. When you do this, it's important that you pay attention to what you value about the person. Okay, so that will be, I think, a great help for mental health to try to patch things up. Okay, and lastly, it is a time to actually broaden our connection. We create new connections now that we are all working remotely, we are working online. The world has actually become smaller because you're able to talk to other people who are actually miles and miles away from you, right? You can be able to connect to them, and this is actually the best time to be a part of a group who are like have the same interests as yours, right? Or be part of a group who can volunteer to do activities like um, you know donating or anything of your interest. So this is the best time to actually widen your community, widen your group of friends, to be connected. So question is, who are the people in your health squad that actually are part of your health squad, mental health squad? And lastly, of course, this pandemic, okay, that's happening around us. This is the best time to practice empathy and to be compassionate with others and to act upon it. All right. But it's not just being grateful. You feel thankful for them. How do we express gratitude? It's through showing kindness, and that can be learned. So as what you can see in the slide, there are children who are holding posters, showing their gratitude, saying thank you to the frontliners, for doing a good job. Okay, so that is one way of showing kindness to the people who are actually doing the hard work for us in this time of pandemic, the frontliners. And one way also of showing kindness is actually by simply staying home, right? We are asked by the government to stay home. And it is our responsibility to follow that. And when you stay home, which is actually what we all need to do, we are contributing to flattening the curve or collective wellness, right? So it's great that we ask each day ourselves what are the things that we are grateful for. And I said it's not enough. It should be expressed by showing kindness. Okay. And of course, it will be better if you can find, as Teacher Baby said, find a gratitude body. So maybe it can be your best friend or families that we can actually talk about, all the things that you are grateful for. And because you are grateful for all these things, what can we do? Okay, about it. So that's why other people are donating, they have food drive and all, because that is their way of showing gratitude and kindness. And we can do that also. That's part of our mental health, to have a sense of, community. And to close, so again, tip number 3, you take time to cultivate your relationships. Be intentional when you connect with the people. Be intentional to make meaningful conversations. Okay, so just to wrap it up, we have the power to thrive in this adversity. So we have to consider, we have to choose to respond than to react. And you take care of ourselves so we can take care of others and grow our relationship despite the distance. Okay, our world is in constant state of transition. As educators, it is important that we evolve continuously through learning and to make ourselves be ready for the next normal. Can we show the last slide? Yes, so we use this time to learn, okay? We should evolve continuously through learning to be ready ourselves for the next normal. Some doors will open, some doors will close, but you can choose to be ready for any door. So that's about my presentation. So again, all
Hi,
right.
Tinda, and
Thank you, Camille.
Mhm.
thank you very much. Thank you very much for that refreshing and timely discussion. And because of all of these, because of the ACQ, I think everyone has been struggling with mental health. No? And I personally think that our educators do need some guidance on this, especially that the transition between traditional face-to-face classroom setup and shifting to online platforms really is making
Already
us anxious, 'di ba? Not just with the content. I mean, not a lot of teachers have PowerPoint presentations, for example. It's still very traditional, and it's so hard to put all of your lessons in slides. For example, all 20 lessons, and you have to make 20 PowerPoints. It's really going to make you feel anxious, and it's, I think, a normal reaction for most people to feel that. No, so siguro before anything, before all of these questions, I would just want to say that your voices are very, very calming. Okay. So, para akong nakikinig sa meditation podcast. Yun. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
sobrang na-embody nyo po yung mental well-being, and that's my first observation actually with all of this. So, looking at the comment section, not everyone still has comments, or our viewers still do not have comments. But of course, we want to say hi to all of them.
Yes.
To Miss Lorna, Miss Marjorie, Batch 1966, Miss Ruth Ann, Sir
Sir
Kevin,
JD.
Sir JD, Miss Mina is here with us tonight. Miss Beth also. I have a question po for you. Um, since not everyone is really productive with the ECQ, and not everyone also could acknowledge that it might be because they're anxious. No? Parang, baka tinatamad lang ako. And of course, we know that it definitely has an effect on them. The fact that we're all limited and restricted with our movements, no? Especially if you're an extrovert, for example, going out, but you can't, di ba? Um, do you have any tips for them po?
Well, maybe Teacher Leah will answer that because we are not in ECQ here in Canada.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so maybe Teacher Leah will
Okay.
answer that.
So basically, since school was cut short, so technically, when we heard about the news that we are going to be under ECQ, well, my first reaction was actually panic, right? Because of course, I need to have first number one in my head was I need to have supply of food. Okay.
Right.
And then, but actually, I realized after a couple of days, it's not actually a problem because, Filipinos are actually very, well, they turned out instantly into entrepreneurs. So all my neighbors here, every household actually sells something. So if you need a piece of ginger, someone will deliver it to you. If you need a box of milk, someone will bring it to you. So it became actually not of a problem anymore. In terms of being productive, because I personally, I'm a person who actually tries to schedule my day. Okay, if I don't do it the night before, I try to write down when I wake up in the morning after I do my meditation, after I do my exercise. I try to write down, the things, the essential things that I need to accomplish within the day. And so that is actually helping me get through each day. If I don't have the list, tendency for me is actually becoming disorganized. So my sister will follow up something. I won't be able to do it. But if it's on my list, then actually I'm able to, accomplish the things that I need to accomplish. Because even if we are under ECQ, your work doesn't stop, only the school is closed, but our work doesn't stop. So yun, that's one of my tips, to be able just write down and try to, if that's too many, okay, try to choose the most important ones first and then do the least important to the end later on. So that's what I do to keep you productive.
That's actually, personally, that's very effective for me. I don't know if
Mhm.
meron lang siyang parang nakaka-happy kapag namamark mo yung nagagawa mo. Parang yun yung effect niya for me. I used to always write down my to-do list. Now, because I shifted to making everything online because I want to be paperless and all that. But when I was in college, I used to do everything on a sheet or like a
Mhm.
memo pad. And I like crossing out because merong feeling na, ay, may na-accomplish ako. I get to see all of my accomplishments na natatapos siya.
Mhm.
And ended up na, ubos ko na pala yung accomplishment, ay, yung mga tasks ko. So,
Yeah.
there's also that certain feeling.
Yeah.
I just want to flash one comment from Miss Ruth Ann. Miss Ruth Ann. Ang sabi po niya, the feeling of helplessness seems to be common among teachers who came to me for counseling. What I shared with them is the mindfulness exercises which you mentioned. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you, Miss Ruth, for mentioning that. I just would like to add on it because this is something that's really helpful. Going to be a tool that we can use every day, and I'd like to share an acronym for that. When we do the meditation exercise to be mindful, the word is RAIN, RAIN. So R stands for you recognize. As you meditate, you have to recognize what you are actually feeling inside, and A, it means you allow it. If you are feeling fear or worried, you don't deny it, okay? The more you feel it, the more that you need to allow it. You have to recognize that you are feeling it. For example, I'm feeling afraid right now, okay? And so I am feeling it right now. The next thing that you do is you investigate. Why am I afraid? What makes me feel afraid? What makes me worried about? Okay? So maybe I'm afraid now because I don't want any of my family member to get sick. I am worried now because I don't know what's going to happen if I won't have a job in the coming months, right? Basically, today I'm going to share with you, today is my last day of work, right? Because everyone here, almost all of us got laid off, okay? But, you know, the way I see it, it's just a matter of reframing it. I should be stressed out. I should, be out of my mind because I won't have any work anymore. But then I just had to reframe it. This is temporary. I know sooner or later I will have my job back. But what I need to do now is to focus on my family, right? I try to think about it in a positive way that I'll be able to take care of my family now, right? So again, for the A, recognize what you're feeling, whether it's stress, anxiety, fear, worry, and then allow it to happen and then investigate it. When you investigate, it's like trying to rationalize, why am I feeling this? Because by doing that, you are not letting your emotions overpower you. Okay, the moment you identify you or what you are feeling, you're actually activating your rational brain, your prefrontal, the brain here that is actually responsible for good decision making or executive function. So there. And lastly is letter N, which is very important. Nurture your feeling. And how do you do that? So after you recognize your feeling, you allow it, you investigate it, you can just tell yourself simply, fear. I feel fear right now. And you can talk to yourself, thank you for protecting me. Okay, because we feel afraid because we don't want anything to happen to us, right? So you just acknowledge fear. Fear, I know that I'm feeling you right now, but thank you for protecting me. I'm going to be okay. So that. So that's the thing that I'd like to share with you because it is very, very powerful that I hope that you will learn to practice every day.
Maybe before we go to the next comment or question, I would just want to share to all our viewers that they really do practice what they're preaching, because before we start all of this webinar, I just want to share this. This is my first experience talking to Teacher Leah, Teacher Linda, and Miss Lourdes. Earlier on, we saw her in the beginning of the webinar. She's in the background. And of course, before all of this, you know that in a production, people will get stressed. And I also felt that stress earlier on. And Teacher Linda started telling me, oh, mag-breathing exercises muna tayo. 5, 4. And
Yeah.
it's really what they did. And again, aside from their voices, it made me feel na, okay, I don't have to feel stressed about what we're doing. It has to be calm because then it would reflect to the viewers and make them feel na, ay, parang hindi naman genuine yung ginagawa nila. So, maybe I just want to, reiterate that what they're teaching us is really what they're doing, in real life. One question from Tosca Bernardino. Sabi niya, I just want to ask, what considerations can we give to our students who are also struggling to finish schoolwork because of anxiety caused by this pandemic?
Basically, I just would like to share what we are doing now here in Canada, because what happened here, there's still school. Actually, our school will end in June. Okay, so we had the 1 week break, spring break. So everyone here, all the teachers were not even prepared to shift to online teaching. um, I guess we need to reach out to our students who are feeling anxious about this. Find out what makes them feel anxious, okay? What the teachers did here, because we are doing online teaching almost every day. So those students who are not actually participating, they had to call them one by one and ask what is happening. First, they ask if they need help. Our focus here is the basic need. If they have food, because we know a lot of people got laid off. Okay, they don't. Most of the parents lost their jobs as well. So they ask, "What do you need? Do you have food? Do you have internet at home? Do you have Chromebook? If you need anything, just let the school know." Even to the point that the principal had to visit the houses and deliver Chromebook and deliver food hamper. I think we need to just reach out first and find out what is happening in the family, what is happening at home. Only then that we can actually help them. If we understand, if we connect with them, we will be able to help them. And at the end of the day, we realize it's really not academics that is important at this moment. Again, we will go back to mental health. So for them, they just tell the students, okay, finish what you can finish now. If you need help, just reach out to us anytime. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's really still the well-being of our students. It's not about finishing the schoolwork. And the principal would always remind the teachers, give them ample time, because we know everyone is going through a hard time. Let's not be too strict with deadlines. Okay, if you can give extension, because maybe these deadlines are also causing them too much stress and anxiety. So what I suggest is reach out to the families, to the students, and find out what is the reality now at home, because it's totally different studying at home and studying in school.
Maybe I just want to add to that, no. It's probably because everyone has to be in the same, how do I say this? The same standpoint when it comes to mental health. Some people kasi do not acknowledge that it exists, that it is important. That's why there is still this. Also, I don't blame teachers for parang pushing students for deadlines. It's because the admin is also pushing them. It's a trickle down effect. So it's somewhat understandable for some teachers. But I feel like if you have that democracy in class, it would be easier for teachers to implement like longer deadlines.
Yes.
And I think they could make it work. So I do agree na, and I love that the principals would go to their students' classes, because it's aside from the class as an academic structure, it is also the second home of the students. This is what we always hear from people, that it's a second home of students. And maybe that gesture is making students feel like they are at home.
Yes.
Nag-visit sila, they feel na they're important kasi yung teacher nila binivisit sila, or yung students, or sorry, yung principal. So it's yeah, so that's I think a very important factor for students and teachers at the same time. One last question from Miss Mayna Sabado, and of course I will pull in Miss Lourdes to answer this question. Hi, Miss Lourdes.
Hello, I'm your technical director.
been seeing in the background ever since we started this webinar.
Good
Uh,
evening.
so let me just flash Miss Mina's question. Um, Miss Mina asked na she, well, I would quote, I find that because everyone is working from home and commute time has been removed from your lull time, so it seems that people are doing more work than usual. And this increases the demand to perform.
Yes.
Okay, maybe both of you can answer or before I say the last, because I think it's the last question. We'll end with the last question.
Last question.
Teacher
I
baby.
yes, I think yes. I agree with Miss Mina. That there's an increased demand to perform because we actually experiencing it now. We are experiencing it now. We have more work to do at home because we need to prepare a lot. Okay, especially with teachers, like checking the output of your students, that you have to give comments to every work that they submit and monitoring if everyone is doing the work. There's really a lot of job. And like if it's like face-to-face teaching, you can give comments right away, right? And also when you give feedback, it's totally different. Like feedback, it has to be really well written because it will be depending on the person who will be reading it. Like for example, if you give a feedback to your student, good job, it's how you say it. But what if a parent who would read it to a child is stressed and anxious? Your teacher says good job. So it's not gonna the message is going to be different. So it's really hard. And I actually feel for all the teachers because I've been working with so many and they said that they are more stressed now than ever before. But again, let's just go back to, trying to be mindful of all of this and reframing our stresses and trying to be more productive and taking it as a challenge. Because of the end of this pandemic, for sure, there will be a better you, a better me, a better teachers. I mean, we will all be better in this profession, and that will make us even more prepared for what will be the new normal, the online teaching, right? So I guess, yeah, there's an increase in demand, but you just have to like face it and just always remind yourself to be mindful and take care of your overall mental health. Yeah.
Well, you're taking care of a child right
Yes,
now.
my child is here sleeping because it is 7 in the morning.
So we added to your load.
Yeah.
Teacher Leia, you want to say
Well, actually,
something?
for me, it's a different situation because we are in ECQ and, our work was actually cut short. So with me, there's not so much pressure when it comes to work. But what I do is I'm the one giving pressure to myself, right? Like, this is the best time to actually invest my time to study, while school is not yet open, while the government doesn't have specific date yet or month when we can start. So this is actually my time to actually learn about the new platform, look for possibilities, the things that we can offer since we will be doing online or blended learning by the next school year. So that's what I do right now. I'm the one putting pressure to myself so I can be productive and I can, feel a sense of accomplishment, as an educator, as a teacher. I want to be ready for the next normal. So that's what I do every day.
Yeah, I just want to add one more about that. Yes, there's more demand to perform. It's a stress, but let's just harness the stress, accept it, and be more productive. And let's just tell ourselves we are stressed because we care. We care for our students. Just think about it. And whenever you feel stressed, it's just because you care.
All
Miss
right,
Pat.
so I'll be the last as we close as well the session. So I am from Evolve Link. We are not triplets, we're sisters. I'm the older one. Really, my advocacy is on mental health, and that's why with Miss Mina asking my help for educators, I thought this is a great platform to actually have Teacher Leia and Teacher Baby. Well, Teacher Baby is her name, Linda, as most people know her. To close it off, I think this is giving us the opportunity to be human, to feel every emotion possible. I think on Earth, something that we may have not felt before. And so, to the question of Miss Mina, yes, all of a sudden things are extra more difficult. I'm doing webinars for companies. Every week, I would have 3 or 4 webinars, sometimes 7. And really, there is more stress because we have lost that boundary. Our routine has been disrupted. My day routine has been disrupted. My screen time is longer, and therefore my sleep is affected. So I think being aware of things that affect our mental health is a good starting point, because we have the choices. We can make choices to what to prioritize. So I myself, for example, had imposed myself a productivity measure of doing 3 webinars a day or 7 in a week, which actually was harder, and it was no one's measure. It was no one's standard, right? To a point, I need to reduce that so that I can take care of my own mental health. So one is prioritize, because I think this is a good time to reset our values, our priorities. Put boundaries. Yes, I even have clients who say, when we have meetings, we imagine ourselves walking from one room to another so that people can be moving around and not sitting in the computer all day long. So they just keep moving as if they're moving in the meeting rooms in the office. And like I said, because it's a reset opportunity, reflect on how you want to be after this pandemic, because that's within our control. Yet we only have one life. And so I think from the feeling that we are just surviving, just to close again, we have entitled this as we can thrive, and that we have the power to thrive in adversity. I think we can all challenge ourselves to be from surviving to thriving. So thank you very much. And we hope you're able to impart some new things for everybody.
Thank you very much to the sisters. Sometimes I don't know who is who, but without tags there. But thank you very much, Evolve Link and Creative Corner Learning Center. Um, that's all the time we have. If you still have more questions, you can put them at the comment section below, and we will still try to answer them. We'll communicate with teacher Linda, teacher Leah, and Ms. Lourdes to try and answer your questions if ever you have follow-up questions after this webinar. Teachers and Ms. Lourdes, do you have other separate sessions for your webinars? We can promote them here.
We don't have yet, but if there are requests, why not? As for me, I have webinars for organizations every week, and some lecture series, give different topics: anxiety, social connection, name it, recovery, and all these things. So just like you, I have my child, it's almost bedtime. So, but this is our new normal, right? His name is Jed, and he's the guy who's mopping the floor. Say hi. Hi, yeah, hi.
Hi.
Okay. So thank you QSR, for the
Yes.
platform.
Thank you.
QSR.
Thank you for having us tonight.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. We'll see you again on our next webinar. And hopefully, if you want more webinars like this, you can comment them, and we'll try to make more webinars, especially focusing on mental health. Thank
Thank
you. We'll see you
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.